installation kit on the printed board, and I debugged through this. And this is a very first circuit board in Japan in 1976. So just 4 years after I joined NEC. And if you come to Japan, you can see this in the developed in the United States, and when it comes to Europe, spice, and also expanding automotive or medical spice in Europe. And another picture is theoretical software engineering. Europe is very, very strong in this area, such as computer languages, Argo or high speed and also noise reduction to save the noise pollution in the city environment. So we like improving constantly. And problem-solving capability. Some of you are familiar with this. Problem-solving with cause and effect diagram, or Ishikawa diagram, and fishbone diagram. Several ways of expression. And Ishikawa is the first generation of software quality management in Japan. And the next generation, and maybe I'm a third generation in Japan, with about 20-year intervals. And process approach. This is a tea ceremony in Japan, very popular. And tea, green tea, and not black tea. We enjoy taste of tea, but also we enjoy the process of making tea. And elegant and well-practiced procedure or process of making tea is, we feel, some beauty. That's a Japanese mindset. And the start of history of quality improvement is about modern improvement. It's about 60 years history. And software, we started about 30 years ago. So software quality improvement or process improvement is kind of marriage, TQM, and software engineering. So JUSE established a software quality study group called SPC. And SPC promotes the idea of Japanese TQM methodology and tools to software industry. And activity is still continuing, like continuous improvement, over 30 years. And now it's called SQuBOK, the rename in 2007. And this is an example of marriage of TQM and software engineering deployed in NEC group. And not only NEC, leading IT companies like Hitachi, Fujitsu, Toshiba, and NTT Data. Many Japanese leading IT companies have a similar or common idea of software quality improvement. And also we share our practical knowledge through JUSE activities. And also we have a very good relationship between Carnegie Mellon University Software Engineering Institute and very beginning of the Humphreys made a maturity model. We have some collaboration. And this is a Japanese translation of his book. And Humphreys made several detailed benchmarking of Japanese software companies, and some stating about the Japanese success factors in the area of quality. So in his chapter 5, stating optimizing level 5, you will see some historical background why the Humphrey put the Japanese way of fault prevention exchange our experiences and formulate the difference between Japanese way and the European way. And the horizontal axis means pragmatism, and the vertical axis is a kind of degree of theory. And role practice, role theory, it's a failures and mistakes. And management is maybe intuitive, ad hoc type. And the Japanese way, we focus on practice and learn through our failure in the past. And kaizen, kaizen, kaizen. That is Japanese way. So we are very strong in this direction. And whereas European people is very strong in theory and process modeling, theory-based improvement, and single model principle, rules first, something like this. And those two dimensions has also two strengths and weakness. And on the very first day of this conference, EuroSPI, I joined the workshop in the agility or agile method. We talk about some gap between concepts, principles, theories, models, and real world. Real world, we have many constraints on resources, human behavior, strange behavior, and social, economic situations. This is real world. And we have to fill the gap. And the Japanese way, we learn from failure and make it some improvement continuously, without knowing theories. But we come to some solutions through such a Japanese way, like agile method. We didn't call it agile, but our practice is very, very agile and customer focused. Whereas European people are very strong in theoretical things, very holistic view, and the concept manifest and good, let's say, documentation power. And European people, yes, Thomas made this illustration. And we Japanese try to start with the real world, continuously, and go to theories. European theories and going down to the real world. So it's a little different approach. But I would like to say, in the next decades, we need this more high performance and global collaborations. So we need some integration, Japanese way and European way, or some American way, converge to a high level of software quality and process improvement. And this is a SQuBOK guidebook. Here, it's about 400 pages book. And SQuBOK guide was developed and released in November 2007 in Japan. And we have now a Chinese version of SQuBOK, and English version is now in progress. Please wait for a moment. And I'm a member of some projects. And SQuBOK, overview of SQuBOK was already introduced in the world by Ms. Okazaki. She's the leader of this SQuBOK project. She's with IBM Japan. So thing is